Have you noticed how increasingly distracted we are these days? You pick up your phone to check a notification, and before you know it, 30 minutes have passed scrolling through your feed. You sit down to study and your mind wanders to 1,000 different places. You open your laptop to work and end up watching random videos. If this happens to you, it doesn't mean you have ADHD or any other problem. In fact, it's more normal than you might think. Today, we live in a world so full of stimuli that focusing on a single task is almost impossible. There's always a notification, a video, a song, or news item that steals our attention, and our focus disappears like water leaking from a leaky bucket. The habit of being distracted wasn't always bad. Our ancestors needed to constantly scan their environment for dangers. This fragmented attention kept them alive. But today, it's quietly destroying us from the inside. Researchers at the University of California discovered that it takes an average of 23 minutes to regain full focus after a single interruption. Multiply that by the number of times you break your attention each day, and it's easy to see why progress feels impossible. But there is a way to hack this, to train your brain to ignore distractions and immerse itself so deeply in a task that the world around you simply disappears. This technique comes from the Zen monasteries of Japan and is called Ichigyo-Zammai. It's the practice of doing one thing at a time with complete attention. Josh was 16 when he realized he was losing the race of life. He wasn't a bad student. He understood math, physics, and programming, but he couldn't concentrate. He'd sit down to study and minutes later be checking Instagram. He'd open his calculus book and start daydreaming about working at Google. He'd watch a video lesson and pause halfway through to check the score of a game. Josh had a big dream, one of those scary, almost impossible dreams. He wanted to get into MIT, one of the most competitive universities on the planet, but his grades were far from enough. While other students consistently excelled, Josh lived in the middle ground, C's and B's. Enough to pass, but not enough to reach his goal. His friends mocked him, joking he'd end up flipping burgers, and even his parents, though supportive, pushed him to focus. Josh felt the pressure, but his mind sabotaged him every time he tried to act. He spent hours daydreaming about graduation, first jobs, and future apologies, while his assignments remained unfinished. One day, after yet another low grade on a calculus test, Josh reached a breaking point. Tired of mediocrity and disappointment, he decided to ask for help. The next day, he went to see his math teacher, Mr. Madyy, a calm, centered man in his 50s. Unlike other teachers who yelled to maintain order, Mr. Madyy had a presence that made everyone silent. Josh explained his struggle. "I really want to improve my grades, but I can't focus. My mind keeps jumping around and I get stuck in a cycle." Mr. Madyy smiled knowingly. "When you study, how many tabs are open on your computer? And your phone?" Josh admitted 10 tabs. Notifications on, multitasking constantly. Mr. Madyy nodded. "I was exactly like that when I was your age. Until my grandfather taught me something that changed everything. Ichigo-Zammai." Josh looked confused. "Ichi, where is that from?" "It's Zen Buddhism," Mr. Madyy explained. "It means complete concentration on a single action. It's not just focusing, it's becoming the action itself. When you study math, you are math. There's no separation, no observing yourself from the outside. You immerse completely." He added, "Think of how you've lost track of time playing a video game. That's a flow state. Ichigo-Zammai teaches you to enter that state intentionally in any activity." Josh felt a chill as he realized it made sense. Mr. Madyy handed him articles showing how neuroscience supports the practice. Focused attention strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain controlling planning, impulse, and focus. The technique works. That night, Josh began applying Ichigo-Zammai. He put his phone away, closed all unnecessary tabs, set a 2 5-minute timer, took 3 deep breaths, and started. The first 5 minutes were torturous. His mind begged to wander, but he gently returned his attention to the task. 10 times in 25 minutes, he corrected himself. By the second block, distractions decreased. By the third, he entered a state of concentration he had never experienced. When the timer rang, he couldn't believe he had made more progress in 1 hour than he normally did in a week. The following days, he maintained the ritual. Total focus on one task, immersion in every activity, from eating to walking. He had lived on autopilot, but now he was awake. Josh's friends noticed the change. "You don't hang out with us anymore. Are you okay?" he smiled. "Everything's great. I'm focused on something bigger." The first math test after this transformation was astonishing. He entered Ichigyo-Zammai, becoming the test itself. When results returned, Josh had earned an A, a grade he never imagined. Mr. Madyy smiled, and Josh knew this was only the beginning. Over the following months, he practiced daily. His grades improved steadily. Discipline became about systems, not willpower, and he learned that distractions weren't the enemy, they were signals of fatigue, boredom, or fear. By the end of the year, he applied to MIT. Against the odds, 6 months later, an acceptance email arrived. He screamed with joy. His parents cried, hugged him, and he felt a profound gratitude not only for acceptance, but for having mastered attention, the skill that changes life. At MIT, Josh maintained his practice. Amidst high competition, distractions, and anxiety, Ichigo-Zammai gave him an edge. He applied total attention to programming projects, algorithms, and group work. Professors noticed his precision, and he stood out not as the most brilliant, but as the most consistent. Consistency, he realized, beats disorganized genius. After graduation, he became a junior programmer, then a full-stack developer, then a senior programmer, and by 28, a team leader. Colleagues asked his secret, and he answered simply, "I'm not smarter. I learned to eliminate distractions and be fully present." Science supports what Josh learned. Studies from Harvard show mindfulness strengthens the prefrontal cortex. Stanford researchers found it reduces activity in the brain's default mode network, which triggers wandering thoughts. Practicing Ichigo-Zammai rewires the brain, building mental clarity just like muscles grow with exercise. The technique isn't just for productivity, it enhances life. Food tastes better, conversations deepen, experiences feel richer. Mindfulness increases happiness and life satisfaction because joy comes from presence, not accumulation. Josh applied this daily, teaching his team, transforming ordinary people into focused, high-performing contributors. Josh's story shows that mastery of attention is the true game changer. Success doesn't come from more time, resources, or raw talent. It comes from focusing on the moment, investing fully in each action. Life is made of moments. If you aren't present, you aren't living, you're merely watching it pass by. When we practice Ichigo-Zammai, we reclaim those moments. Every action, every breath, every step becomes meaningful. Attention is power. Presence is life. And so, wherever you are, start small. Focus on the task in front of you. Train your mind to return gently to the present. One action, complete attention, full immersion. That's how you change the game. That's how you live fully. Be present. Walk with honor. Follow the path.